CO2 Sense is a wholly owned subsidiary of Yorkshire Forward, and we're here to do the bidding of Yorkshire Forward on the sustainable agenda. So within it at the moment we have 4 programmes. One is carbon capture and storage, so looking at some of the big power generators and the big manufacturers and capturing the carbon and storing that, so taking it out of the atmosphere. Another one is Future Energy Yorkshire, which looks at, as it says, future energy, things like anaerobic digestion, combined heat and power, wind, looking at renewable generation in all its forms. We have Resource Efficiency Yorkshire, and that's a programme that looks at resource efficiency within organisations. Then finally, the programme I look after is Carbon Action Yorkshire, and we deal with the largest organisations in the region looking at carbon reduction and actually preparing for the risks of climate change. Most of what we do is actually free at the point of source, and certainly within Carbon Action Yorkshire it's about engaging organisations to look at this and take proactive steps to deal with it, and therefore protecting jobs and GVA within the region. Well, there's a number of ways that we assist our businesses to comply with government legislation. Obviously the key one at the moment, and the one that's impacting, well, there are 2. There's the EU ETS scheme, the European Trading Scheme, which is really for the very big emitters and generators, and that's well developed, and those organisations are quite capable of dealing with that. So we've not looked at that. The other one, the big piece coming through at the moment, is a carbon reduction commitment, and we've been working on carbon trade in Yorkshire now for over a year, and that prepares people for the carbon reduction commitment, and that's been running since the last Harrogate event, which is where we launched it. So that prepares people for the technicalities of dealing with the carbon reduction commitment and the trading that follows it later on. So the trading scheme that we've been working on has been live since we launched it at the last Harrogate event last October, and in its initial phase we've got 35 organisations on there, and it talks about the judicial process of the carbon reduction commitment, but it also talks about the trading scheme and ways and means of trading, and it's a risk-free way of actually putting your trading strategy out there. We've got about 1.5 million tonnes of carbon within the scheme, and whilst it's risk-free because there's no real money taking place, it's a simulated risk, we're looking at about 75,000 tonnes of carbon reduction from it. So whilst it's a simulated risk at the moment, the carbon reduction is real, and we're getting some very interesting outcomes that will help the organisations under the carbon reduction commitment. And a lot of what we're seeing so far isn't necessarily around the trading strategies, it's about the data transfer, who has the governance, who has the authority to trade. So a lot of internal stuff that if you call to the carbon reduction commitment, you're going to find difficult to get on top of quickly. The justification for carbon trading is to put a price on carbon. It's a commodity that hasn't had a price, and as a consequence we have a damaged environment. If it's treated like any other commodity, so the use of it has a cost, it empowers people and actually provides a stimulus for people to use less or put less of it out. Within the carbon reduction commitment, that's a cap and trade scheme, so irrespective of the sort of normal stimulus, they will reduce the amount of carbon in the market, so there's an added stimulus there as well. When we developed carbon trading, we did envisage it finishing in March 2010, which sits right on top of when the carbon reduction commitment comes in. However, having spoken to the people that are on there, there's still work to do, so we intend to start driving yet further down into potential trading strategies, but we're also developing tools that can assist people that will be carbon trading, things like carbon demand forecasting, and there's a whole area of business tools that will help carbon trading or people that want to avoid trading on a regular basis.